what's up, ecosystem? Welcome back to ATI Auto Transport, the car shipping business channel. My name is Jay. Mic check, 1, 2, 3, test, 2, 2. All right, cool. So we're back. This is live carrier advice. It's DOT compliance 2.0 because we realize in addition to regulations and all the other advice, there is business advice that's required. Because we know we look at what's being put out there as far as information to get going and get started and build your business, and yeah, there's a little help we need. So Brian Riker, your DOT guy, is here with us to help do that. That's what ATI Auto Transport is all about, is all of the advice. We're not going to leave stuff out just because we don't want to talk about it or whatever. So please do leave a like, share, jump into the live chat, text Ty, let us know how we can help you. And also feel free to jump in the live chat with your questions. Awesome. Affordable Transport Solutions is here. Good afternoon. What's happening from Florida? Thanks for tuning in and saying hello. David Two Bears Transportation. Time again. Oh, UCR 2290. 2290. What is this, a zip code, Jay? No, this is not. Let's bring in Brian Riker. Ladies and gentlemen, please, all the way from Washington, D.C. He's with us today. Brian Riker, your DOT guy. Brian, can you see me and hear me okay?
Hey, Jay, thank you. Yes, I can.
Right.
Good to see you back in your
welcome.
studio.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I got my drum roll back.
Yeah, you got the drum roll back. Now, it's a little dark where you are, but we know the lighting in hotel rooms is not, I don't know, right?
Yeah, and I have a desk lamp here that doesn't work, and I asked,
all right.
I checked it, a $398 a night hotel, and they can't fix the lamp on my desk.
Actually, I've been there. When I was at the Caesars at Car Conference. Don't get me started. Okay. So, listen, we have a lot to talk about, and let's go ahead and jump into Two Bears is saying, hey, Brian, when is UCR and 2290 due? Brian?
They're due at two different times, and they're two different things. So your UCR is your Unified Carrier Registration, and UCR is due every year at the end of the year. The filing period typically opens in October, and you have to file it no later and pay it no later than December 31st. Your 2290 is the filing period typically opens in July to August, but it depends on how long in service. If you're the first owner, if you bought it sometime last year, if the previous owner paid their 2290, so the in-service date of your vehicle will vary. You may end up paying a 2290 mid-year. IRS.gov has a little packet with some guidance on 2290. That must be filed electronically. If you have over 25 trucks, IRS recommends e-filing it even with one truck for efficiency, because most states are going to require your watermarked receipt before they'll renew or issue your apportioned registration. And remember, 2290 only applies to vehicles with a registered gross vehicle weight rating in excess of 55,000 pounds, where your UCR applies to any interstate operation of a commercial motor vehicle, so anything over 10,000 pounds gross vehicle weight rating.
Thank you, David. Appreciate that. Let's do this. I want to bring up, again, this is Live Carrier Advice. I'm Jay. We have Brian with us. And another question that we got. Now, you got this through email about the fuel surcharge.
Sure.
You want to expand on this?
Yes. The short answer is there is no regulation on fuel surcharge. So fuel surcharge is between you and your customer, whether your customer be a direct shipper or a broker. It is up to you to negotiate a fuel surcharge. Now, if you're a leased on owner operator working under somebody else's authority, then it's between you and the person that you are leased to. Fuel surcharge is designed to allow you to recover some of the cost of fuel that fluctuate from when you had entered your contract to transport whatever freight it is until that current day. So if you're taking work just off of the spot market, so work from the broker board, the load board, it's very unlikely there will be a standalone fuel surcharge line because those rates are supposed to, the key word is supposed to, reflect actual current market conditions and market rate. So what you need to do if you're not happy with the spot market is have a discussion with the broker. You don't have to just take the price they post, and you have to be able to stand your ground and know what your costs are to operate. And with $5, $6, $7 a gallon fuel, we're upwards of 70 cents to $1 a mile, depending upon your equipment, just in fuel costs. So make sure you understand all of your costs. But there is no federal regulation. I get asked that all the time. Well, what's the regulation on this? Because they don't want to pay me fuel surcharge and I got to force them to. There is no regulation that requires them. There isn't even a regulation that requires the fuel surcharge be passed on to you, the person that actually pays for the fuel, when it is collected. Your broker most likely is collecting a fuel surcharge from their customer because they probably entered into that agreement with their big shipper customers 6 months, a year, 2 years ago. And they probably have a fuel surcharge mechanism in their contract, but there's no regulation that requires it to be passed on to you. And the same thing when you're leased on to somebody. There's been push to make it required, but it is not required. They only have to pay you as agreed in your lease agreement or your contract.
Yeah, that's basically what I've seen is that, I mean, the expectation of a fuel surcharge would be nice, but yeah, I don't think it's an actual standard other than maybe an assumption or expectation, which leads us into, so Tuesday night, and I'm going to bring in Ty on this. Let's go ahead and bring Ty in from the waiting room. Ty Thompson, Cars on the Move. You know him. He's on a lot of Tuesday night shows. He's the co-host of the Friday show, Cars on the Move. Actually, he's the host and I'm the co-host. But the point here is that, Ty, we're going to talk about what we did on Tuesday night with Car Hauling YouTube video review. And I think what we realized is we're going to be doing more of these. And I'm just going to keep moving ahead because it seems like, and I know, but this would, for me, memes drive home a point. You're not going to Hollywood just because you watched a few car hauling YouTube videos. Okay? I said it. So stop thinking that way. It is ridiculous. It's wrong. Don't ever jump into anything feet first. Nothing, especially trucking.
No. You have to understand what you're getting into.
And that's why, so I chose this video, 4 tips to make $5,000 weekly, which on its face concerns me. But it was a good video talking about expenses. The thing was, I thought he left out some of the expenses. Now, this is a different video that I saw yesterday. This is Ruben the car hauler. He put out a video. He also pointed out some things. And I think Ruben will be on our next YouTube video review. And I've actually invited Ruben to join us. How about that?
Very good.
Now, the reason, what's interesting is that this all coincides. I had no idea that Tow Piglet was going out of business the other day. And the thing about this, because this is real, and it's, you know why he said it's not clickbait? Because it's usually clickbait. He actually had to tell you it's not clickbait. Which is funny because someone's going to make a video called I'm Getting Rich, I'm Quitting, Not Clickbait, and you won't know which one's true. That'll definitely be a trucking video. Now, why that sucks is because, a week ago, $1 million gross in 90 days was the video. So, it's been pointed out, same guy, Tow Piglet. And this is not a comment against Tow Piglet personally, but against the videos he's making. Because he's sending mixed signals. Whether he knows it or not, I don't know. I don't know what he thinks or knows. And he said he's learned a lot, and life is one big learning experience. That's fair. But I'm blocking out this top black bar. So a year ago it was start here. This video got over 500,000 views. That means how many thousands of people took this at face value? Start here. This is how I get started. This is how I'm going to get to $1 million in 90 days. And now what's up, right? And this is what people are saying. And so one could argue you reap the wrath, which is why our honesty here seems to cost us views. But at least we can continue on knowing that we never tried to trick anybody. This guy says, when you continuously push false information on others, I don't feel bad for you. He gave bad advice left and right, posted huge numbers. So, right? We can see what's going on. You know, and I'm going to stop here. I feel bad. Now I just feel bad.
Lesson here.
Because I feel like I piled on to Toe Piglet. But help me out. Am I wrong?
Not necessarily. There's a lesson here. This is a business, and you have to understand that it is a business. Gross means almost nothing. It's what you keep after your expenses, and managing and controlling your expenses that is important in any business. So $5,000 a week gross to me wouldn't even cover my overhead when I was operating. So that would have been, how to lose money and go out of business quickly. But to some people, 5,000 seems great and they have a low overhead, so it works for them. There's a different model for everybody. That's why I can't give you a don't haul for less than $1 a mile type of speech, because that may not be accurate for you. So I'm sorry to see anybody go out of business, but some people put themselves in these positions. They don't retain earnings when things are good. They'll have their $20,000, $30,000 month, and they will manage to spend every penny of that $20,000 or $30,000 instead of putting away for the rainy days. Then when the fuel prices go up and demand disappears, so the cost is going up, but the rates are not going up because the demand is going down, the sky is falling and nobody is prepared for it. All you have to do is look back at the historical data for any industry, and there are trends, and trucking in general is no different. And car haul specifically, you can base your trends on consumer confidence. There are several leading and lagging indicators that will tell us what our business is going to be like for the next 90, 180, 365, even 5 years from now. There are indicators that will tell us what it's going to be like. If we're in general trucking, we look at things like new housing starts, when they're going to, how many new homes are being built, because that'll drive up demand for lumber, building materials, appliances, furniture, consumer demand. And we look at where they are in the country, because that's going to tell you where the hot market to go into or out of will be. The same thing with car haul. You look at what's happening with the total number of vehicles being sold, and it'll tell you what the wholesale, the secondhand market is going to look like. So you have to pay attention to data, and then you have to make your decisions not on emotion, not on your heart, but on what the cold hard facts in front of you tell you. And I don't care how expensive fuel gets. There are still people that are going to make a profit at this. I have customers that just this week, I have a customer that took delivery of 3 brand new car haulers, not to replace trucks, but to expand his fleet. And we're talking $350,000, $380,000 units. So he took delivery of a little over $1 million in equipment to expand his operation. And so there are still growth. There is still growth to happen. There are still people that are nailing it, but you have to understand what you're doing.
Ty, what do you say, buddy?
Well, I would say Brian's spot on. I mean, there's nothing that Brian said that you can't argue with, and I think that's really where I come from as well. Is I not so much look at the car hauling business itself, but try to follow what's going on around it, and then bring it into my world, which is car hauling. So I start looking at the overall financial health of the nation. Whoa. What do you think that's going to look like in 3, 6, 12 months? And, Brian's last story about his client that took the delivery of 3 new trucks, there's more than likely that carrier, that client of Brian's, has a direct relationship with somebody. Mm-hmm. And he's been doing it for more than a couple of years. And so back to, I got a call today before the show. Ty, do you know any schools for broker companies? I want to be a broker. Is there a school? Car hauler broker. I want to be a car hauler broker. Is there a school, an academy? Not that I know of, right? So we get these conversations, and they're good, but what I always think about what Jay says, where did you get this idea, and what are you thinking? Because we talk to, or I know Brian talks to just as many people as I talk to, that you really are wondering what are you thinking, and to try to be encouraging and try to help that process and make that process successful. My first approach is always, are you sure this is really what you want to do? And then start moving from there. So what Brian's saying, what Jay's saying, and what I'm saying is know your market, do your market research. To me, that's the very critical part, is the market research. So, does Ty know how to give you the steps to become a broker? No. How about to get your own authority? Not really. What does Ty do? Well, Ty knows Brian. Brian's really good at that. I'll let Brian help you. The key fact where I focus is paying attention to what's around me and what I think might happen. How's that?
Sure. You pay attention to the industry as a whole so you can give solid advice. And, well, to answer your question, the phone call you had earlier about what's a good school to go learn how to be a car haul broker. Simple. Go work for a brokerage. Nobody that first step and learn the industry from the inside out. Let somebody else pay to train you. They're going to have the financial resources to cover the mistakes that you are bound to make.
Man, that is an amazing idea. Go work for a brokerage.
Well, yeah, you learn. If you're going to start a brokerage right from the ground up, you better have a large bank account, because you become responsible for paying your carriers even when your customer doesn't pay you. You have float time, because if you need to offer quick pay or something to a carrier, you might have 45 days before the client pays you, but your carrier wants to be paid in 45 minutes. So you're going to make some mistakes. You're going to pick some bad loads to broker. You might as well learn on somebody else's dime. It's the same advice I give to a new trucker. Before you quit your career and decide you're going to be a trucker, go try it out somewhere. There are companies that will hire you for 6 months with no experience. They'll be happy to have you, and you can decide if you even like the lifestyle, because I have quite a few people that get their authority, spend a lot of money to do it. Then 6 months later, they're asking, how do I sell my truck? Because this isn't what I thought it was going to be. Not that they're not making money. They didn't know that they wouldn't adapt to being on the road and away from home, or they realized that truck stops are awful places to hang out at, and auction parking lots are hot and miserable and smell like pee, and they don't want to do it.
I was just going to say, so on the Facebook thread of all the equipment up for sale, there was like reason why I'm selling was on each one. It's a pie in the sky dream I have. But if it said, yeah, because parking lots smell like pee, now I want to get to the reason I chose Ruben for our next video review is he said 2 things, not said them, focused on 2 things that I thought were key to what it is we're trying to talk about, and that is he kept saying load boards. And he kept saying brokers, which leads to kept talking about rates. And when you're in that zone, Ty, are you in front of your business at that point?
No.
You're not. You're riding behind the truck at that point, right?
Yeah.
And that's why he's so frustrated.
Sure.
Yeah.
Which I understand. And it's not to get rid of. We don't have like 3 bullet points to turn it all around. I wish.
I do.
You do.
It's meet and greet people so that you can become less dependent on the table scraps. That is what is on a load board, are the leftover table scraps. The way freight works, whether it's cars or boxes of widgets for Walmart, the way freight works, all the big shippers have their preferred provider that they have a contract with, and it's called a load tender. They send them everything. Then that carrier says, all right, I can do these 8, but I can't do those other 4, and they reject them. The rejects end up in the broker pile, and the broker puts them out on the load board looking for someone that has surplus capacity. A load board and a broker is never intended to be your primary source of work. They are the table scraps. And I don't mean that to insult brokers. There's a lot of, and people are going to hate me. I'll get hate mail for this. Send it to ATI.
Yeah, send it to Jay.
There are a lot of good brokers out there that have some really good work, but if you don't have that relationship, it is not going to be your work. That's where these people can say, oh, I haul spot market freight and make a killing, because they've got that backdoor relationship with that broker who calls them long before it ever even makes the board. So if you're not willing to knock on the doors and create your own work directly from dealers or wherever, then you need to make those relationships. Don't hop around to every broker out there. Do not be the community bicycle. Pick 1 or 2 good ones and make a meaningful relationship with them. And I mean, relationship's the name of business. I'm here in Washington, D.C. this week for the Towing and Recovery Association of America. We're trying to get some regulations changed and some congressional action to protect roadside responders and some relief for trucking in general. And it's all about relationships. This is our 5th year down here, and we're finally getting invited to the table, and they're calling and asking us our opinion before they just shove something down our throat. The same thing applies to you in business. It's all about that relationship. You have your favorite mechanic you go to. You have your favorite salesman that you buy your truck from. You have your favorite waitress at your favorite restaurant that you go to. So why should it be any different in your business? And why shouldn't you have your favorite customer or source of work that you've made that relationship with, and they're going to give you that something extra when it makes sense?
Speaking of, let's keep going. My ETA, I love this one. I'm just gonna keep moving. My ETA is my ETA, Trucking LLC. That should be the name of. Okay. So. Dun dun dun. Oh my gosh, it's here. This is real.
We're finally getting some action.
Definition of a broker and a bona fide agent on Federal Register. Brian, do you want to tell us what this is?
This is right in my wheelhouse. This is the type of stuff I take care of, but I'm not in DC for this week. But that said, I did have a meeting with Larry Miner, who is the Assistant Administrator of Policy for Federal Motor Carrier. And this has been a thorn in their side for years. FMCSA doesn't even really want to regulate brokers anymore because their mission is focused on safety and administering the business workings of a broker really has very little to do with safety. So I wouldn't be surprised if when this is all done and they update the definition, they move it out from under Federal Motor Carriers jurisdiction anyhow. But what this is the Transportation Intermediary Association, the trade association for brokers, along with Owner Operator Independent Driver Association and a couple other trade associations, Small Business and Trucking and a couple others, have asked for clarity to define exactly what a broker is, They've asked for clarity on when and how a broker must share their back office information with all parties to the transaction. And they've asked for a definition of bona fide agent, specifically to clarify if a bona fide agent can represent more than one motor carrier at a time. And so this notice of proposed rulemaking, they're collecting some information to see what the industry thinks the definition should be and what their different roles are, and if maybe a dispatch service, because they do mention dispatch services in this notice, maybe a dispatch service should have some sort of regulation like a broker, or maybe they should just be left to their own device because they are not a broker. And they specifically asked the question that's been a sticking point for everybody. Does it matter if the dispatcher handles money for the transaction? Does that change their relationship? And so they haven't made a decision yet. And so you have a chance to go to regulations.gov, enter that docket number, and submit your comments. So if you are a broker, if you are a dispatch service, or you are a consumer of dispatch services or brokerage services, meaning a motor carrier, and you have an opinion on this, please make your comments heard. Make them respectful, stick to the point, stick to data if you have it, and file the comments. You have probably another 20 days or so to get those comments in so that FMCSA can take your real world experience and your opinion into consideration.
Before I bring you in on this, Ty, I just want to mention this. So this is an actual comment. There's only 13 comments as of yesterday. This is one of them. Probably one of the best ones in my opinion, but people are really passionate on both sides. A dispatcher representing more than one carrier should not be considered a broker. We're not contacting shippers to move their freight. We are contacting brokers on behalf of carriers to make them aware of capacity space on trucks. A dispatcher should be categorized as a back office assistant. To me, that is exactly what a dispatcher is. And what bothers me is there's this idea, and I keep seeing it because I saw another one. This guy, Ty, you sent me a video. This guy made a video talking about how he's waiting on his dispatcher. What? Why? What? Just because you wait on the maid to vacuum doesn't mean you couldn't have done it yourself. What are you so mad about? Why are you sitting for 3 days waiting on your dispatcher? Don't do it. Pick up the load board or whatever crap you're hauling from, and you look.
Mm-hmm.
So if you hate dispatchers because of that stuff, where'd you get that idea? Dang it. Dispatchers work for brokers. They work for carriers. They're assistants. They're cleanup people. If you want to hate somebody, go ahead. I know. Hate the broker, right? Hate the broker. Hate the carrier. How about hate the double brokering carrier that cusses you out and hangs up the phone? Man, I hate this issue.
Well, double brokering is another issue that FMCSA is looking at, and there's going to be some action on that this year as well, but they're not quite ready to release that.
Ty. Help me out. We seem to have a rhythm here. I freak out, and then you guys add sense to the equation.
Well, no, you're right. This is what I always tell these guys when they call in. They want to know about a load board and a dispatcher, and I say, your mind is a dangerous neighborhood. Don't go there alone. And they're like, what? What does that have to do with my load board and my dispatcher? Well, it is your company, so it is your head. And inside your head, what happens is you end up in some state, 12 states away from where you live, waiting on your dispatcher that really is not your business. And really, honestly, let's just really lay it out there, doesn't give two shits about your business. How do you like that? That's honesty, okay? Now, you can have a dispatcher. A dispatcher would be an assistant. A dispatcher would be somebody you communicate with, what you're trying to figure out. But at the end of the day, if your name or whatever magic name you decided to put on the side of your truck, that's your business. And this is the point that I really try to drive home the most. When everybody else is a problem, really at the end, you're the problem. Because you do not accept the responsibility that you are the one that decided to do this. How do you like that?
It all comes back to personal responsibility. And if you choose to use a dispatcher or any other contracted assistant, that's your choice. But as a responsible business owner, you should understand all these processes before you give them out to somebody else to manage. My goal is to teach my customers how to make myself obsolete so that they could manage their own safety and compliance if they chose to do so. And a good broker, you should be able to, or a good dispatcher, you should be able to learn from as well. Now, I do not recommend personally a dispatch service, especially in the beginning of a company, because you have to get to learn the business and learn the trends. Otherwise, you're not going to know if you're getting a straight deal from whoever you hire as your dispatcher to help you. So you really need to learn that. And on that, guys, I'm running up against the clock because I got to go run over to the Rayburn office building.
It is time for Brian to go. So, Brian, thank you so much. Hope you have a productive day. Keep us posted, and we'll see you maybe like 2 weeks. Oh, yeah, next
2 weeks from now.
Conference. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Thank you so much, Brian.
Yes, sir. It's been good so far today. Thank you.
All right, man. Have a good one. Thank you.
Bye.
All right, see ya. All right, Ty, what we'll do is we'll keep going. I'm just gonna throw them in the waiting room. So on the dispatcher thing, we'll go for another few minutes because tomorrow is what? Dispatching Live. Oh, right. Everybody loves Dispatching Live. And I believe that dispatching is an actual, right? Larry says, how do you like those apples? Dispatching is an actual thing. But what's the but? You take over. But
the but on dispatching. Say what was the first part?
Dispatching is an actual thing. Like
no, it's real.
It's a legal job. It's real. It's legal. But
there definitely people have figured out a way to turn it into a scam and to take money away from people. That is true. We do know that.
Yep.
And I do believe a lot of the pushback that maybe you feel comes from the carrier base that doesn't. When you and I first met, I swear.
Hold the phone. We got it. Okay, here we go. Affordable. Thank you so much. Affordable says your description of a dispatcher is not always accurate, guys. Very wrong here. Affordable, please tell us where we're wrong. And if you want to join us live right now, if you're able to talk, I can send you the link. You can call in on the phone. You can join us on camera. You don't have to. When you watch ATI, we're not here to start a ruckus. We're here to talk. This is Daryl, and I am dispatch here. Oh, okay. Daryl is a dispatcher. Awesome. Good. And Daryl, you should go comment and tell the Federal Register what they got wrong about dispatch, because there is a war. There is a war on dispatchers. There is. And now the federal government's going to weigh in on it. We don't know in what way. And there is an organization out there that loves this war. What's up, Repo Ryan? Repo Ryan is with us too.
Hey,
so while Daryl, phone. Daryl wants to join by phone. Awesome. All right, do me a favor. Man, this is great. I'll tell you what. So Daryl, here's what I need though, Daryl. I need your email address. You can email me, so it's not on screen, autotransportintel@gmail.com, because I have to email you the invite. I don't know how else to get it to you. So if you email me, autotransportintel@gmail.com. And also, listen, if anybody else wants to join this conversation while we're live, that's what ATI is for. autotransportintel@gmail.com. You can email me. I'll add you to this. And if you miss the show live, put it in the YouTube comments below, because this is a very important issue. And what really bothers me, Ty, is that, number one, what do you say about government intervention? Ty? Do you like it?
We don't need it. No, we don't need any more overreach.
Hey, I got my ELD punch right here.
No.
I love...
And here's the thing, by the way, I'm happy a guy like Brian's in what Brian does, and maybe someday I might be inclined to do something like that. And what I bring Brian up and what he's doing is because, the reality of it is anything the government touches does not help you, period. And if you disagree with that, throw it in the live chat. We'll bring you on. We'll talk about that. But I'm just letting you know, government is not your friend.
What are you talking about? There's
Not
plenty
in
of
business.
shows where people
No.
argue about politics.
No, so here we are. I mean, this dispatching concept. Back to when I met Jay. Jay was a dispatcher, and I'm telling you, look at me. Look here. Can you see me? I'm telling you, I had no idea what Jay was talking about. We talked for literally an hour in the hallway, and it took me an hour to just kind of grasp what he was talking about. Do you get that? So I come from fleet world where I have a dispatcher, me and somebody else that dispatches our 20 trucks and our 10 owner operators. To me, that makes sense. When I meet Jay, and Jay is talking about a load board and dispatching for carriers, what? What did you say? Because I don't understand that. As I got to know Jay and as I took the time and the patience, and believe me, it took me a long time. It took Jay patience as well to try to get me on board to understand what this dispatching is that I don't know. There is a tremendous value for what we're talking about here, especially if you get it. So here's what happened. The other day, something came up about a broker. Jay jumps on the phone. I jump on the phone. Jay and I are trying to figure out what's this broker talking about? What's this broker doing? We bring in Sue. And we bring Sue in because Sue's really plugged in. Guess what Sue does? Sue does dispatching. She's also a dispatcher. As the conversation unfolded, here's where it lands. I'm never going to encourage anybody to get on a load board and find a dispatcher. You will never hear me say that. Never. Right? Are you going to do it? Yeah. And you're going to do it. If you're going to do it with somebody that we know. Okay? We're not the end all. We're not the solution, but we do know Sue and we do respect Sue. And Sue and I even can go back and forth. I'm like, Sue, you know, I'm not a believer in dispatch. She's like, I know you're not. But if we're going to have it and it's real and we're going to do it, why not go with somebody that at least some of us know and it's definitely not a scam? Does that make sense?
And I'll tell you what's interesting also about dispatcher is that one of the problems Ruben had yesterday as he was making his video, or the day before, is that he was talking about he had to update his certificate of insurance with all these brokers losing all this time. See, now this is an area where a dispatch office that knows what they're doing, they can help you do that. So you're not spending all day in a parking lot waiting for certificates, because we know what a pain that is. So the thing is, again, dispatchers, what really irritates me is that so many carriers think and argue that dispatchers are somehow this pestering object.
Yeah.
It's not that there aren't. Sure,
right.
There's some banking scams, but that doesn't mean all banks are evil, although, you know. But the
Bad
thing
example.
is...
No, all banks are evil. Sorry.
Try a different analogy next time, Jay. Never use bankers. But
you're like the government, okay?
I mean...
Not your friend.
What I'm really afraid of is that, and so, I mean, if my fears are founded, if everybody that submits a comment up here, I put the link in the live chat. Again, I said, please go here and comment. If everyone that goes there and comments hates dispatchers, is the federal government going to pass a law that bans dispatchers? I think that would be awful. But
well, it's kind of like
it wouldn't end the industry, but it would be really awful.
To me, it's a lot like how many rules are in existence right now that none of us follow. A lot.
Well, thank you. That I really like that you said that, because this is when I get on my high horse and I talk about people quoting scripture and verse. That's illegal. That's illegal. Oh yeah. Well, what do you do that's illegal? How's your taxes? Huh?
Yeah.
Let's talk about
Exactly.
your tax returns. Or how about the way you drive? Let's get into the way you drive. Let's put a camera on you 24 hours a day, and let's go over your driving skills.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
And I think again that this is why, like, there's and people definitely don't like this, but there's a natural market, right? That if you're doing business the right way, you will naturally grow. If you're doing business the wrong way, you will naturally die, right? So if you come into this business with any part of this business, by the way, because we talk about the entire ecosystem, if you're coming into this business to get rich, whoa, slow down, because I don't see that happen. And whether that's a dispatcher, whether that's a carrier, whether that's a load board, whether that's technology, it doesn't matter. I'm telling you, Brian says it, I say it, Sue says it. We've all seen it. Lionel, the insurance, they're gone. You're not coming back. You got a truck and a trailer and a bunch of really sad stories because you came here to get money. You came here to get rich. And what the main message, one of the many messages that I know Jay and I both really believe in is this business. And here's what I thought of. I thought about like Ruben. I thought about, here's the thing. When I'm sitting here talking about get your own customer, if I have my own customer, am I still going to go to the auction and not find the car? Yes. Am I going to go to the auction and the gate pass isn't going to be there? Yes. Are you still going to encounter all the same problems you encounter when you physically get to where you're going to pick up or to drop off? The answer is yes. So why do I want to have my own customer? And why do I want to have to, why wouldn't it be just easier, Ty, if I just had the load board and the dispatcher? Because that way, I still got the problem, but I don't really have to deal with direct. No, it's worse when you go find a car and you can't find it and the gate pass isn't there. And you got to find your dispatcher's got to find the broker's got to get back to the dealer. That's 3 people in the middle of you trying to do your job. Why not get rid of at least 2 of the 3, right? I mean, if you need help finding cars, fine, but I would rather pay a sales guy $5 a car, whatever. I mean, something, right?
So, and I like what you said, because that's it again. That's getting back to square one. No matter what people you, I don't want to say use or leverage, but you rely on to get loads, whether it's brokers, dispatchers, neighbors, dealers, back pages of classified ads, phone calls, trade shows, whatever you do, then that's your methodology. But think it through a little bit before you drop that insurance money. Because, and I think that's one of the things I see in videos, that's what pushes people, that's the big push. Once the insurance bill is due or paid, there ain't no going back. The clock, right? It's like a James Bond situation. It's MacGruber. You are now in MacGruber.
Yeah, in MacGruber for sure.
You need to cut one of those wires.
But again, and again, here's the thing. You talk to an old guy who's direct relationship and customers. You're talking to Jay. Jay's involved with technology. Jay knows a lot about what's going on in these technology things. Then you've got the actual technology companies that are wanting to help you. Wanting to help you.
Oh, let's cover that for a second, since we've whacked everybody else.
Well, yeah, this is the big whack, and here's why it's a big whack.
Never gets talked about.
No, it doesn't, because here's what my problem is. Now, there's a couple out here that I would love for them to come on the show and let's have a discussion, because my understanding the technology to help the carrier, right? To help the carrier. There's a cost associated with it. No, that's just good marketing, Ty. It's funny, when you say you're helping the carrier, you can say anything else after that in parentheses. Yeah, well, don't get me started on brokers helping the carrier and how much they care about the carrier, and then I find stuff out about what the broker really cares about the carrier. I know,
right?
That can be a problem, kids. Don't get me started on that.
The mind is a dangerous neighborhood.
Don't go there. Well, back to technology.
By the way, Daryl's going to join us. So as soon
I'm excited.
As soon as we hear the doorbell ring, Daryl's in, and we're going to talk about the dispatcher thing. And then it goes for, hey, if you're in the live chat and you want to join the dispatcher discussion live here on Live Carrier Advice, plus we're going to do this again tomorrow. Are you with us again tomorrow? Wow.
Yeah, I'm with you all week.
This is important.
It really is. So there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
Well, this is important too. But as a whole, and here's why I say the tech piece. This is why the tech piece has my attention, because you have to look at what's going on at the new. What? I thought we were talking about technology. No, I'm talking about new cars. You really need to be paying attention. What's going on in new cars? what does that have to do with dispatching and load boards and technology for car carriers? To me, it has a lot to do with it, because I think what you're getting ready to see is that saying that I yap about all the time, short mile, long dollar. I think that's getting ready to be more real than you even I know. Meaning, if you've got OEMs that are saying, buy online, no haggle, one price, and the car shows up. Who said that, Jay?
Right. And by the way, right now, what? If you're still here and you're not asleep or you haven't like loaded the Glock, is that, you know, right? Like what are you guys yapping about? What we're yapping about is that, so what the dealers are focused on is that OEMs like Ford, VW, and Volvo, and again, half the audience just went to sleep. Oh my God, you guys, just get to the load board. So these OEMs are talking about selling direct to the public and going around the dealer. I mean, and that's, I paraphrased pretty accurately. And even like Brian Pash was on CBT News talking about how, oh no, it was a lawyer. Did you watch that video?
I got it.
Oh my God, that's a good video.
That one's on my, I'm coming back. I did watch Jonathan Smoke though.
Yeah, and I got to go back and watch that one. So
Yeah, that
here's
one's
a news flash, guys. We watch the other channels.
Yeah.
We don't just say they suck and not watch them. We watch them all. That's how we stay informed with everything going on. Listen, if you need to go or anything, let me know. Okay. And Daryl Daryl, by the way, Daryl is a working dispatcher, so he even said, like, I had to go, I had to grab a call. He could be grabbing another call right now. Dispatching is, I'll tell you what.
It's a busy job. That's a hard job.
I've never done a live show. I don't know how Sue does it.
No.
I don't know how Sue does it, man.
Well, she has helpers, but the reality of it is neither Jay nor I are smacking dispatchers, right?
I believe in it. That's why I have a show about it.
I'll smack the scam dispatchers all day long.
Right.
They create a real problem.
And I want everybody to send me, listen, camera one, if there's a scam dispatcher you know of, I want you to send me an email, autotransportintel@gmail.com. Send me the scam dispatcher. I want to know what scam are they running, what the problem is. Because it's not every dispatcher. It's not. Dispatching is real.
No.
I get whacked for that all the time. Oh my God. Do you know how many people hate it when I say that?
Well, I'm sure, but here's, again, somebody's made an issue of it, so it has to be talked about. That position is critical to any trucking company, right?
By the way, did you know that brokerages, which is, well, we hate brokers too, Jay. Brokerages have dispatches. Literally everybody has dispatchers. Even the police department said, well, I hate them too. All right. Well, dispatchers, it's just a function of assisting an organization with logistics. That's it.
Yeah.
Dispatchers are not hiding in bomb shelters trying to destroy your business. That's a different organization. What is it called? BCG? Okay, Jay.
Well, for me, here's the big difference. Okay, this to me is the issue. Is the dispatcher going out, knocking on doors, handing out donuts, and buying coffee for people?
And if
right?
Oh, dang it, wrong button. And if they are,
then we got a problem.
Actually, you might want to hire that guy, right?
Yeah,
because that's what you need.
Go out and knock on doors local.
You need a salesperson.
And that's, I guess, the difference. And you're saying that I've never personally done that position or like that model, but
right. But a dispatcher that does that is on their way to becoming a broker, and now you need a broker's license. But the average dispatcher is a lot like the carrier and doesn't have the, I don't know, is it the gumption? I don't know what you want to call it. I don't want to piss anybody off. But, dude, cold calling, me picking up the phone right now and calling somebody and saying, hey, I want you to do this and give me money for it. That's really hard. That's cold calling. It's really hard, but that's what it's going to take to build business. And if a dispatcher does do that, they're becoming a broker. And you're right. If your dispatcher works directly with shippers, and takes money arranging for freight. That is brokering. That's
Broker.
Hey, Daryl, can you hear us?
I can.
Awesome. Daryl, will you please say hello? Just do me a favor. Tell me why you wanted to, say something about dispatching, please. I welcome you to the show.
Well, thank you very much for the invitation, Jay, and hi to you, Ty, too. Our situation is not all that common, I think. We're very small. We only have one rig on the road right now.
Yeah,
There's
I know that.
Three of us involved.
Okay.
My owner, myself, and our driver, and we really like to think of it as a team. At one point, we had 3 trucks on the road. We had 2 trucks that we operated Florida only.
Yeah.
And we don't operate those any longer.
Well,
it just wasn't profitable anymore.
When you're dispatching. So do you know my background as a dispatcher? Did you know that I was?
Very little.
Okay. So let me just fill you in real quick.
Yes.
I worked as a dispatcher from 2012 to 2016, and I started with 1 truck, worked up to 5 trucks. I worked for a dispatch company. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Okay.
And meaning,
I
can
got a
relate
question.
to what you're talking about. So, yeah.
Daryl, how many cars does your 1 truck transport at a time?
What's your capacity,
It's rated for
Daryl?
10, but with the size of these cars today, it's like a never thing that will ever get 10 on it because everything's just too big. Weight-wise, we'll never get 10 on it.
Right, but it's a
We've had 9.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. You got the owner, you got the driver, and you got Daryl dispatching.
Right, and the owner. There's times when I don't talk to him for a week or 2 weeks at a time.
Sure.
And we have now, as of 2 weeks ago, gotten our authority as a broker. And
Great. Good call.
My owner, my owner is taking on general freight responsibilities with that. I'm trying to stay out of that, and I'm slowly getting into auto brokerage, and I mean very slowly.
Let me ask you this. Did you set up, you don't have to, number one, I'll ask questions and say things because I'm curious and I'm into the information.
Sure.
One of the things mentioned many times, and Brian will tell you this. Did you see Brian earlier, YourDOTGuy on the show?
I did.
Okay, perfect.
I did.
Brian always advises if a carrier sets up a brokerage, set up 2 separate companies under the same. You want to try to do that to protect yourself with risk and insurance.
We did.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. I'm so glad you did. And I think it's smart to set up a brokerage because any carrier that's growing, I believe, gets in the broker game.
What happened, I'll tell you what happened with us. We had 2 different dynamics coming to our door. We operate Florida to Ohio round trips for snowbirds in the fall and the spring. This has been a main source of activity and revenue for us that we discovered a couple years ago, and we've been doing it, as I said, for the last 2 years. And it's been really good for us. And what we found is that people that like our service have come to us without going to the broker and asked us to carry them directly. And we haven't solicited it because it's not right for us to do that under the terms of our agreements with those brokers. But we have a right to do that if those customers come to us directly. And so we've had a couple of those that have done that. But if it doesn't fit our schedule, we don't have the ability to do anything with it. So if we have a brokerage license, then we have the ability to place them with another carrier. And so that was one thing that caused us to look for a carrier authority.
So
the other thing is that go ahead.
Well, I want to ask this. on that, because this is actually, I think this will never go away. You're an independent contractor working for an agency, third party, and the customer of the third party agency likes your work and says, I want you to work direct for me. There are many third party agencies that are not ever cool with that. And I could see the argument. Now, I've been the independent contractor that had a vendor say, I love what you do, and gone and worked for them. Guess what? That bridge with the third party that I was working for was gone. Because then it comes to this. Now, you're the broker. Let's say you have a vendor, and now the customer loves what they do and wants them to work for them direct. Is the bridge going to be gone in that situation between you and the vendor?
Well, that's always possible. That's always possible, and
It's part of business.
the thing is that I get the customer comes to me and wants me to do that, and I tell them we'll take them on directly if we can, and if we can't, we'll put it with another carrier, and they need to understand that from the beginning. And then if they get another carrier and they want to go direct to that carrier because they're happy with that, we can't do anything about that. We've done our best to take care of that customer, and I feel that's our responsibility when they come to it. And the other thing is we also get referrals from that customer because they were happy with us, and that kind of grows. So I just do my best to take care of them directly or indirectly. And if we now have a brokerage authority and we move it over to that, I mean, we just got it 2 weeks ago, and I've had 2 requests that I did move to the brokerage side, and that's, we're not out soliciting brokerage business for the authority on the automobile side right now yet. We intend to, but we've got to walk a little bit before we start to run. So that's where we are with that. But my owner has a contact on the commercial freight side who offered him a regular amount of general freight brokerage from his company. And so that's kind of taken care of that, and that gives him something to work on, and he's staying on that side. And I'm not delving into that right now because he's taking care of that and getting used to it, and we don't want too many hands in it. But anyhow, getting back to the dispatcher side, I find the loads, I book the loads, I build the trips, I keep my truck moving and keep it busy, and my mandate from my owner, and he leaves me alone to do it most of the time, is my mandate is follow the money. My mandate is to book the loads and get as much money for our truck as I can. And the driver's attitude is I book it and I send him wherever I can find the best loads, and he does the driving and follows the lead. And they have enough confidence in me to do that. They will make comments. They will complain to me sometimes, but basically I'm the one in the lead, and I get it done. So my job description does not follow what you guys were talking about at all. And I don't resent what you said. It's just
what did you disagree with? Yeah,
about.
let's talk about that. What was it that we said? Because I really do want to know. This is important.
Well, some of the things that you were saying, and it wasn't your opinion, it was the opinions that you were expressing that were said by others.
Well, okay, agreed. Yes.
Dealers
yes.
and brokers that were making comments that were negative about dispatchers, that were wrong. I don't think those people have any idea what dispatchers do. I think they
agree
were
with you on
ignorant of what dispatchers do.
Why do they do that? Why do people want to remain ignorant about dispatching? Because I don't know what else to call it.
I don't know.
Because it's fun. I came up with badasses don't look for loads. I actually came up with that. I think it should be a bumper sticker. Badasses don't look for loads. Right?
I guess not. I guess not. I guess they sit and wait. I mean,
that's right.
You know, the other side of that is I try and book as far ahead as I can, and I find that brokers don't like me to do that. They don't like to give me loads far in advance.
Because they might somebody might call in and say, I'll do it for $50 less. And now what do you do?
Or sooner. They might take it sooner, and then that makes them look good. The agent or the dispatcher at the broker's office might get it done sooner.
Yeah. So now now your carrier's like, well, why don't you have me all booked out? Hey man, do you know what I'm going through here? Let's try some Genchi Genbutsu, huh?
Yeah, right. I like to have my truck booked out completely when he gets to a destination area, so that when he drops, he's going and picking up and going out of there. When we were doing those round trips from Florida to Ohio, it's all singles mostly, 8 or 9 singles.
Ask you that on a 10 car, that's a ton of work.
Yeah, so I mean, we're 2 days picking and dropping in Ohio. We're all residential mostly, and we've got to do the routing and the delivery schedule and all the calling. It's a lot of work.
A ton of work, and then 2 cancel. One of them doesn't have an axle. Somebody had a hair appointment. It's brutal. Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. And when they cancel, then I'm running around trying to find, those replacements, and we get those and put them on, and I'm already building the cars back in Florida to go back up there. Oh my God, exactly. So not only are the drivers on the phone, hey, I can't find this, I can't find that, where's the what?
Right.
And then plus you're trying to fill one of the loads that canceled because somebody screwed you. Not to mention you're still trying to book the way back. It's insane. I don't know how in the F that insane job is illegal. Just kill me now.
It's stupid. And thank goodness, and here's a plug for one of our friends, although we have some complaints about them too. Thank goodness for Super Dispatch, because it does make my job easier. If I had to do all this on paper, I would have to shoot myself.
And I agree with that. The technology helps improve your organization of your loads, and receiving, you can see what the driver's doing better. Don't you love it when they actually mark it picked up and you're like, yes?
Well, I follow him even closer because I watch when he's taking his. I know he's at. I watch his GPS. I know when he's at the site. Totally. I watch him that he's taking pictures. He's taking pictures. I know he's already starting to get his load ready, and so when he marks it picked up, I know he's getting ready to leave. I watch the process very carefully, and I can do that because of Super Dispatch.
And I want to say this too. Right now, somebody got wrong what we just said. Some carrier's like, well, then I'm going to turn my location off. No, man, we're trying to help you. We're not spying on you. I don't know what women's underwear you put on today. I have no idea. Right. I'm trying to help you. Why are you so resistant to me helping you? What in the F, man? Oh, that's right, because badasses don't book loads.
No, my driver knows. He knows the GPS is on the truck, and I see where he is. He knows the GPS is on Super Dispatch, and I can see where he is. Yeah, and it's all for his safety, and he understands that.
That's the thing. And so your driver and your owner get it, don't they?
Well, yeah.
Exactly.
And it's not. I don't watch him all day long. I've got better things to do.
Oh my God,
but every once in a while, I'll take a peek at it and see.
And if you know where he is, and it doesn't match something you've told a broker or shipper, it's not a lie. It's just that you're trying to estimate because they force you to give a number, right? Now
Absolutely.
you can better look ahead and massage the future. But if you don't know where he is, man, when your driver disappears for 24 hours, what's your life like?
Oh, if he's out in the boonies in the western states, Nevada, Arizona, New Mexico, and I can't get him on the phone because he's got no signal, at least usually I can check the GPS and know where he is. Or there's other situations when he's on his way to a destination and I get a call, when's he going to get here? I can usually plug it in and see how many miles away he is. And I can tell them, okay, he's 30 miles away. So you can probably count on him being there in 30 or 40 minutes. And, they're very appreciative of that because
Isn't that the truth? And so
hey, Daryl.
Yeah, Ty, go ahead. I've been hogging the microphone.
Boy, you have. Dang.
Check. But I get so excited. Okay, go ahead.
How long have you guys had this 10 car?
Actually, we put it on the road last July. We had a Wallymo 8 car that we were using before that for almost 2 years. And that's what I got started with. So you've
been doing it. You're on your third year?
Yeah, I'm just getting into my third year, and I never did this before. I started with the rollbacks, Florida only. I was doing finance and selling with small dealerships for about 20 years before that. And the thing was that I got into it because I was a car kid. I loved cars since I was a kid. And I grew up in big trucks in the scrap business with my dad. I learned to drive on an old B61 Mac. So the thing is, when he's driving and he's got to get into tight spaces, I can look at the satellite map and I can give him a pretty good idea of what he's got to do to get in these because, again, I had the experience of growing up in big trucks. When they tell me he's got a 6-inch ground clear.
Yeah. Have you had the same driver in this 10 car since you got the 10 car?
Yes.
Same guy.
And he's young and he's learning. He started with big stuff with the 8 car with us. He was driving smaller stuff.
I guess the thing that I'm listening to is your conversation and kind of the business model. It sounds like you're really heavy into POVs. You've been doing the POV Florida to Ohio for about 3 years. And now as I listen to it, I don't know if you can see me, but I've been over here just shaking my head like, no, this is terrible.
I can. I'm watching.
Yeah.
I'm watching. And we have other lanes that we do. When we're not doing that, we found that the Southwest works for us. We've done a little bit of Northwest and Colorado in the summer when there's no snow, when it's not cold. We stay away from the difficult areas, the cold weather and the snow.
Well, what I'm more referring to is the amount of work. I'm really shocked, to be honest with you, that this driver's still been here since you had this 10 car. And I'm really shocked that you're still doing it because I've never done POVs and I never will. And the reason is because I just have to listen to this conversation. And to me, I'm thinking, are you serious? There has to be United Roads, Jack Cooper, some of these guys are probably standing around wondering, where's the 10 car? I need the 10 car guy. Where you pull into a lot, you load up 10 or 9 or whatever you can fit on there and you just take them all to one place, maybe 2 at the most, but you load at 1 and maybe drop at 2 or 3 max. And I'm thinking, what is it? Is there maybe more money in this POV market or what's the attraction here? Because I'm not finding anything, and I'm not trying to be mean at all. I'm just genuinely curious.
And I appreciate what you're saying. First, tell me, what are you considering a POV?
Well, usually that's an individual. whether that
POV
be
is
business.
a privately owned vehicle.
Yeah, if you want to call it.
Okay,
so,
I understand.
So we call POV
I understand. And we do work for United Road, and we do work for some of the big brokers, but frankly, we don't see them offering us full loads often that pay what we can earn with the POVs. I'll give you an example. 2 weeks ago, we took a full load out of Texas for RPM, and we got, I'm probably going to get in trouble for telling you this. We took a single load, one pick, one drop of brand new Cadillac SUVs out to the San Francisco area for $7,000, which was not great money. But we do this routinely for RPM to get out there. We brought 9-car singles back from San Francisco to Texas, and we turned $18,000 round trip in that week and a half. And those singles are POVs coming back. We don't have people offering us full loads from these companies doing that for that kind of money. We did the drop and all the pickups in one day, which is unusual. We've never been able to do that before.
Wow.
The pickups are always at least 2 days in the San Francisco area. I mean, I was pinching myself because I was able to do that.
That's incredible.
That was highly unusual, especially in San Francisco. But one of the pickups that I had, I got 2 of the POVs to come to that to bring their car.
I was going to say.
It was amazing.
What do you think?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, talking about rates, because this is what I mean. Rates is literally what everybody wants to talk about. But I know, like what you said, it's the hardest thing to divulge, right? It gets us in trouble. But let's say San Francisco to Texas, POV cars, 18 grand. What do you think a full load from San Francisco to Texas would have paid?
Well, I don't know. I couldn't find one. I mean, I was looking. I always look for a full load everywhere, but there wasn't anything that I could find.
Where have you found full loads? Have you found full loads regularly anywhere?
Yeah, sometimes. I've got one. I've got
You're
one
gonna find it
today
all
that
over.
we're supposed to be picking up in San
Sometimes.
Antonio, taking it to Denver.
Okay.
Where are you based out of, Daryl?
Florida.
We're based out of Newport Richey, Florida, but we haven't been back here for 2 months. We're going to bring it home next week because my driver's young. He's got a wife and 3 kids at home here.
Yeah.
And 4th of July is a big deal for him with his kids, so we're bringing him home for that.
Yeah, that'll be great.
And let me tell you this. It's important to us that he be home with his kids for
Amen.
holidays
2 months.
and things like that.
Yeah, that 2 months is a
and that
long time to be away from home.
Yeah, but we bring him home for important holidays for him and his kids. It's important for me and the boss that he do that. Even when it's not important to him, we think it's important and we bring him home for this.
One of the things, what's interesting here is that, so Ty, this is where kind of me and Ty started, was that what Ty is asking you is, where'd you get that idea, right? Because I know, like, as a dispatcher, you're working on the load boards, but, and Ty is talking about relationships. We know it isn't the easiest thing in the world. It's not easy. Nothing's easy. I think this is what's interesting. Which one's easier? Filling a 9-car off the load boards profitably, or building relationships and staying busy that way? Which one's easier?
I have found for me that working off of Central is and
Actually,
Super Dispatch is easier for me.
It's actually easier. to book loads off load boards than to build relationships. I think that is 100% true, which is why everybody's on the load boards.
I'm partially disabled. I'm 74 years old. I don't get out very much, so for me to get out and call on dealers and do stuff like that locally, I don't have the ability to do that. And I don't have anybody else to do that.
And it's really hard. And that's the thing, too, is that there are more badasses than there are salespeople. Did I get that wrong?
I get calls. I get calls from brokers all the time. But you know what I get calls for? 1 and 2 car trips. Can you move this from Miami, Florida to Ocoee?
And let's think about,
and that's great if I've got availability.
Well, sure, but that's where I always say, but what are the chances? What are the chances? I think it's so funny. You have 1 truck, right? What are the chances that when the broker calls, it's a load that you can actually move? Like 0.01?
It almost never happens.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, so that's why I think it's the funniest thing. Why are you randomly calling random people about cars that are randomly picking up and randomly delivering randomly?
Because they can't find anybody to take it. It's not because they love me.
I thought it was because they loved you. But here's the thing. So does that mean somebody needs to develop technology that will help them do that? Like, how come why are we working on another bill of lading app instead of technology that will cut down the randomness? Anybody?
I don't know.
Right?
When I had a Florida truck and they called me for that, it was possible that I might have been able to do it. But they're evidently not aware that I no longer have that Florida rollback in operation.
Do you know somebody like Jeff Bezos is going to eventually find this industry and go, oh, okay, I got $1 billion. I'm going to fix this tonight. That's what's going to happen.
Maybe.
And we were all sitting around yelling at each other about dispatchers are illegal. Thanks for playing. That's why I don't mind throwing out land bombs like badasses and whatever, because none of it's gonna matter. All this Facebook chatter, it's all gonna be totally irrelevant when some rich.
Well, you got to look at Carvana. That's where I keep going. Nobody wants to hear me talk about it, but I'm telling you, if they use the auctions for recon and a hub, for a hub and spoke. And by the way, I didn't know that Ernie was going to be at the IARA.
Isn't that crazy?
So excited about that.
I know, man.
Yeah.
We're talking about Carvana. We're talking about the CEO of Carvana right now.
He's going to be there.
Yeah.
I'm going to be there, and I'm going to listen to him. But what I'm trying to say is that this industry has always been dysfunctional, not just fragmented. I'm saying dysfunctional.
Dysfunctional.
You're right. Absolutely right. Look at the failures. Look at the failures in the auction side, and look where the strength is and Cox owns so much that they have the ability to squash anybody that they want to. It's interesting to watch Carvana's direction, and people think that them buying Odessa is a big move and that they bought so much. And the thing is, they only bought the brick and mortar auction parts of Odessa. They didn't buy the other parts, the online stuff.
They already have
which
online
Odessa
stuff.
kept.
Well, Car Globe
right.
I mean, but yeah.
They didn't buy Odessa's online stuff. Odessa kept all that.
Yeah.
And
that's what
that's
Car
not
wanted to keep. But I want to ask you this, since we're talking about this. You just mentioned Cox Automotive, because right now the rich guy in the room in auto transport is Cox Automotive.
Correct. Ready.
Why don't they fix this stuff? What is going on? Do they not?
Oh, Ready is.
They not know?
They don't. No, Ready is terrible, and Cox is absolutely horrible with anything they touch that depends on software. And I go way back with them and that stuff.
They did great things on dealer software. and inventory software. We just had somebody going on about vAuto and StockWave. Dealers, man, the dealer stuff is great. If you're a dealer, you have no idea what a dumpster fire auto transport really is.
Right, but see, this is where like last night's show. Okay, the last night's show, in my opinion, got really exciting and really fun when Dave and Ed showed up. Why?
Right.
Dave is the guy who has 20 rooftops. Ed's a guy who consults a guy that has 20 rooftops. These guys, did you see their faces and their words whenever we started talking about how transportation is a really messed up world? And they're like, what? Almost like they have never heard.
David knew a lot, though.
Oh, no, yeah, super great guy. They know. But I guess my point would be is until Jay decided to put together a platform called ATI, Auto Transport, to bring this conversation. I mean, does anybody have a clue how difficult it is to get a couple guys that are car dealers, 20 rooftops, to just show up on a YouTube channel? That's big.
I know.
So my point is that now you're having this dialogue, this conversation, and I'm asking the guy who's buying in Atlanta, in California, hey, it's funny. I've always thought you guys was really stupid for doing that. Why do you got to do that? Right? I mean, that was a real question.
All right. Yeah. Now I have to tell you a story.
Cool.
Back around 2007, Autotrader.com was developing a new back end for their dealers for the site. And it was terrible. They sent us out a beta on it, and I looked at it, and it was absolutely horrible. I hated it. And I sent my comments up to Atlanta to their tech people, and they ignored me on all the comments that I made. So they kept ignoring me, and they let it go live when I warned them that it was not ready, and it crashed big time. So they had to put it back. And then 3 months later, they were ready to do it again, and I got really ticked, and I went over their head, and I went to the vice president of director of sales, and I got in touch with him, and they sent the project manager for IT. They put him on a plane, and they sent him down to spend a half a day with me and have me go through it with him. And I pinpointed everything that was wrong with it. And he looked and he took notes. And then he went back to Atlanta and he did nothing. Now, I mean, this is costing Cox some money to do that. So then they went on a few months and they made it live again, and they still really didn't improve hardly anything. And finally, I get a call from the senior vice president of sales and marketing for the company up in Atlanta. And he spent over 2 hours on the phone with me, taking notes and dotting the I's and crossing the T's. And then because I had contacts with the local district manager here who was in contact with the people up there, I had some problems with support up there. But anyhow, they were watching, and he went down the hall and he went asking people questions about why this and why that. They come back, and he ended up calling people in and say, why didn't you fix this? Why didn't you fix that? He got the stuff fixed that should have been fixed on the thing, called me back a week later and told me that my comments and objections ended up costing them close to $2 million in programming time, because their programmers wouldn't pay attention to what I was trying to save them. Anyhow, I'm sorry to take so much time.
I want to tell you this. I'm going to say two things. One is we're going to wrap up in about 10 minutes. But two is that, so Sue, you got to check us at Daryl if you've got time tomorrow, and I know you're busy because I know how it is. Tomorrow, Dispatching Live is at noon Central Time. We're going to be going over dispatcher stuff again. That's the dispatch show. But Sue has spent countless hours with folks at Cox Automotive to help give real feedback, useful information to the new Central Dispatch look. And I gotta say, in fairness, they're finally fixing the thing. Now, I don't know if it'll be fixed the way the masses need. I don't know. But they got the battleship finally headed in the right direction. However, that's just the search function of the load board. People can lie all day long on the posts that they put. Will that ever get fixed? I have no idea. I can't imagine why, because if you could collect a monthly fee from every thief and liar this side of the Mississippi, sure. Why not?
Yeah,
I know,
you're right.
awful.
And so is she. And we're fighting that battle too. But
you know,
I just made that point because I had that experience way back with Cox. So I know how they play their game and how they waste money with programming and stuff. And I will say that my boss and I have spent many hours with the Cox people with Central Dispatch trying to help improve that. And it's been frustrating for us because of the points that we've given them and not seen those particular improvements. But yes, we have seen changes made and we have seen the search functions improve. And exactly what you said, it still has not kept the scammers and stuff off of that board because those things are still terrible.
Why would here's a real problem, because this is what Ty's talked about earlier. The tech companies out there that also have load boards, why would any of them police the thieves and liars? The problem is we're still not, as an industry, the only police and liar regulation we have is against illegal dispatchers, which is totally jacked. I can see in the comments, not here, but everywhere, this belief that dispatchers are illegal has pervaded the average mental state. The average person believes dispatching should be illegal, which is absolutely crazy. Which means
independent dispatching or in-house dispatching like what I do.
Who the hell knows? You just can't say the word dispatcher. Dispatchers are illegal in the average mind in auto transport.
Okay, well then I'm not a dispatcher. I'm my owner's assistant.
Hey, this is what I love what you said. Ty, we can't hear you, by the way. This is why brokers don't like the word broker and use asset light carrier. So you should go with asset not carrier.
Right.
I'm not a dispatcher. I'm an asset not carrier.
A broker is an asset management.
No, a broker is an asset light carrier. You meant asset not carrier.
Okay.
Actually, a lot of people say that every brokers and dispatchers should all have MC numbers and DOT authority. Well, I think brokers do have MC numbers. Otherwise,
we do. That's right.
Dispatchers don't have MC numbers, and that really bothers a lot.
No.
They don't. Anyways,
but we're not independent. We're not independent.
Well, and again, dispatchers shouldn't be running the show. Do you tell the owner what the company should be doing?
Sometimes.
All right. That's because you're seeing it firsthand. But does the owner, do you take the money to the bank?
No.
Meaning, right.
His wife does.
Right. You don't pay the driver, do you?
No.
Do the shippers pay you for the transport?
No.
Right.
But your first question, first question, a lot of times when I have a conversation with my owner, we will go through some stuff, and he'll say, "But it's up to you. You do what you think is best,"
That's
and then
incredible.
he goes away.
Okay, that is incredible. Is it not incredible that he's putting you in charge of the ship? Meaning,
He does that. I mean, that's our routine.
That's because your boots on the ground, isn't it? See, this is one of the things that I think people haven't thought this through. If the dispatcher knows more than the owner, maybe the owner should sit with the dispatcher a little more.
Well, no, he's got other things to do, and he trusts me because I've been doing this, and he knows that I get the earn for this equipment and for the company, and I've been good at it.
And what I mean is, but the guys that hate the dispatchers, well, then why don't you learn from them a little? Why do you hate your sensei? Why?
Or if they're not doing it right, they're not getting the right earn, they need to get somebody else that can do it better.
Exactly, just fire him. Why spend days sitting somewhere making videos about how you hate your dispatcher? Fire him!
No.
Stupid.
No,
I mean,
that's not the way to do it.
I'm
no,
sorry.
You can't do it.
That's right, because sometimes people just want to bitch, don't they? That's what you're doing now,
Sure.
Jay. Yeah, well. And
They want to sit and bitch rather than take action to improve the situation.
And furthermore, Your Honor, we want them to be illegal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That improves the situation
And
real
that's what
quick,
makes
doesn't
me
it?
so crazy is that it's just so ass backwards. I mean, it's crazy. Look, we've been torturing Ty for an hour. I can't believe the guy hasn't. Man, that's where he went. I think he went to go bang his head against the wall and eat glass for a while, and he's back.
No, it's good for me to be a part of this. It really is. I mean, there's a lot going on. It's good to hear.
I wish we could submit this show to the FMCSA.
Yeah, put the whole show out there. But no, I appreciate you coming on, Daryl, and it's good to have you as part of the community. I've noticed you've been popping up quite a bit. So we are very thankful that not only did you come on, but that you're part of the live chat, and we appreciate your support. And I mean that.
Well, I do come on when I can, and it's unusual that I have time during the day, but I do have some time today, and I won't tomorrow. I'm getting ready to go out of town Friday, but
that's hard to be away, isn't it? When you take
well,
time off.
it is, but
oh, it's brutal.
I've got a wedding in Orlando for one of my best friend's son is getting married, and I've known these kids since they were tots, and I have to go. It's been difficult for me in my physical condition, but I'm going to go, and so
good for you. Man.
I need to get my truck booked out. Yeah, he's going. He's delivering in San Antonio late today, I think, and then we've got to get the trailer aligned, I think, tomorrow, and then he's got a load to pick up to go back to Denver. So I need to find a load coming out of Denver. I got plenty to do today and tomorrow. Anyhow, I was glad. I appreciate the invitation to come on and have this conversation, because I was listening and I just felt like the descriptions and the comments about dispatchers were not generally accurate for all dispatchers. It's certainly not for our situation, and I wanted to try and correct that.
That means, Daryl, that, and I'm putting it again in the chat, you're going to click this link. You're going to see it pop up in a minute. This will take you to the federalregister.gov site where you can comment about the truth of what dispatchers do. And I even saw somebody commented, so I tell you what, this was interesting. I sent a couple emails. 2 different people pasted the same exact comment. And it was actually pro-dispatcher, which was good. And it had a lot of logical. So there's somebody else out there saying, we got to get the logic to the government before it's too late. I don't even know if it matters, but why not? So Daryl and anybody else, click that link. And if you hate dispatchers, I'm going to send you a different link. Okay, that's not true. But I would like to, because I don't understand what you're talking about. But anyways, everybody, please click on the Federal Register, because we got to get this. And you know what we're going to do tomorrow on Dispatching Live? We're going to read some of the comments. And SBTC,
Yeah, I'd like
they're
to-
in there? Oh, my gosh.
I'd like to see some of this. If you hate dispatchers, I'd like to see you stand behind your comments and your hatred rather than just saying it. What is it and why you hate dispatchers? What is it that they do that causes you to make these comments?
And I tell you, I talked to one guy that, I mean, he's in touch with a lot of guys that also hate dispatchers. And they hate dispatchers because dispatchers are liars and they lie about what they're doing. That they're actually brokers in disguise. And I said, yeah, but not all dispatchers are brokers in disguise. Yeah, but too many of them are. Okay. All right. But so we can at least say that some dispatchers are legit. By the way, I said, what do you say about brokers that have dispatchers? Well, they're brokers. Okay. But the dispatchers that are in disguise as brokers, what about carriers that double broker loads? What about carriers that disguise themselves as brokers? No, we're talking about dispatchers. Okay. So, but the thievery and the lying goes all around. The tech companies, the brokers, the carriers, the dispatchers in disguise. Why can't we just say either it's there's this general problem, or, well, it's the dispatchers. Okay. All right. So that's it? We're just going to go circular on this? All right. Have a good day. But I don't know. I honestly, man, I think what it is, and this goes back to what I think we talked about before. There's so much angst in this industry that we got to have somebody to blame. And it turns out it's the dispatcher.
Is this drivers and carriers making these comments about
carriers freaking hate dispatchers, yeah. The average carrier, the super trucker, hates dispatchers. Thinks that dispatchers have destroyed the industry. It's bananas. It's totally nuts,
whose dispatchers do they hate? That's my question. Do they hate? Do they hate?
Well, you know what? See, this is another problem. So companies that, let's say you're a company driver and you're mad. Guess who you're mad at? The dispatcher. Because you feel like the dispatcher doesn't listen to you, talks you into driving all night, gives you crappy loads, is purposely trying to ruin your life.
Okay, yeah, I've had a little bit of that.
Okay, but that would be you hate the company you work for. Okay? Because the dispatcher didn't start the company. And maybe the dispatcher's drinking the evil Kool-Aid of the company. I don't know. But I think you might need to change the company you're working for. I don't think the dispatcher is the evil genius here.
Well, first of all, I never encouraged him to drive all night. I'm very careful about watching his hours and keeping him
exactly
on the legal side of the clock. I watch him very carefully.
Yeah. The average dispatcher wants to help the driver be successful because that's going to help you be. Why would a dispatcher want to torture a driver? Where's the money in that?
It's not. Did you eat today? Are you drinking enough? Are you cooling yourself down in the heat and getting off that truck and going inside and cooling down every half hour and not overheating yourself? I watch him like a hawk.
I'm sure you and I can promise the industry that more dispatchers have the carrier's back than the asset-light carrier, a.k.a. broker. How do you like those apples? So what's really nuts, and this is why brokers love the war on dispatchers, because that way it's the whole magician. Oh, look at this hand while I'm over here, picking your pocket. It's an amazing way. That's an incredible distraction tool. It's actually quite genius.
Well,
if they make
the other side of that is that I do more than dispatch.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
I watch the maintenance. We went down last year in Boise, Idaho, and I went bananas on Peterbilt at the home office near Dallas. And I climbed the ladder of management there and got them by pushing and pushing and pushing to replace our engine completely at no cost to us. Brand new engine last August. Now, we were down for 6 weeks with this, so it cost us 6 weeks of production, which we couldn't afford. But we ended up with a brand new engine out of it. That doesn't happen very often. And my owner was really appreciative. And what happened was we were on the phone one night, and I said, I'm not putting up with this. I'm going to call the president of Peterbilt tomorrow and have a conversation. And my owner laughed and said, good luck. Go ahead. So that's what I did the next morning. Now, I didn't get to talk to the president of Peterbilt, but I got to talk to somebody in his department, which I knew existed. And as it turns out, they put somebody from the Northwest region on the phone with me within a day, and I discussed the problem with him, and he was the one that took care of it. And within 2 weeks, they diagnosed it and put a new engine in our truck. So they took care of it, and I was a very happy camper, and so was my owner.
Most dispatchers are advocates for the business, and that's the truth. So please do go comment. I put it in the live chat. Please do join us tomorrow if you can. That's everybody. And Daryl, listen, man. You know, we actually rarely take, like, random live calls. So this has been awesome. We're so glad you could join us today. Thank you, Daryl.
I was too, and thanks for the invitation, and I enjoyed it. Glad that I could add something to your conversation there and meet Ty and you in this type of venue. It was enjoyable, and I hope I didn't just go on.
No, you helped make several points.
Too much.
I think you made several good points. So, Daryl, we really appreciate you. Stay tuned to ATI. We're just going to wrap it up here. I'm going to end the meeting, and then I'm going to close out the show. So, Daryl and Ty. Hey, Ty, we'll see you tomorrow, right?
I think we have a meeting today.
Yeah, we got a meeting. I'll see you in an hour for a meeting, and then I'll see you tomorrow on Dispatching Live.
Sounds good. Thanks.
All right, thank you, guys. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you so much. I'm going to close out the show. Thank you, Daryl. Thank you, everybody in the live chat. Now, this was a really long, interesting show. Some would say it was just a long show. But either way, no matter how you slice it, it's an important topic. Dispatching is an important topic. Dispatching is a misunderstood topic, I think. I don't know what happened. I don't know how things got so... I don't know. I don't know what happened, man. But, sound off. Go to the link. Chime in. Join us tomorrow on Dispatching Live. Thank you so much. Really long show today. Wow. I'm Jay. ATI, Auto Transport, the Car Should Be Business channel. We'll be back tomorrow with Dispatching Live. Thank you so much. Take care.